Hey guys, welcome to Bastion Time. I am your host Bastion. This is Nintendo News here live in my library. Well, not live, I don't know why I say that. Anyways, let's get to that news. First of all, some people are wondering if Breath of the Wild, the Switch version, has HD Rumble. That's a big feature that Nintendo really made a point of pointing out at the Switch presentation. They at no point mentioned if that will be utilized in Breath of the Wild. Well, a lot of people had hands-on experience with Breath of the Wild, and there are mixed reports coming out. There are some people who say, oh yeah, I definitely felt that HD Rumble thing, and there are other people who are like, no, I didn't feel that whatsoever. So it may have to do with, you know, the reason why there may be some disparity between those opinions or reactions or experiences is that perhaps the situation is just that the people who didn't feel the HD Rumble weren't doing whatever it is that caused the people who did feel it to feel it. So we'll have to wait for further word from Nintendo, but my guess is, of course, it uses the HD Rumble. Why wouldn't it? We learned an interesting piece of trivia about the Switch, which is that apparently Nintendo was developing it for 3 years, and for most of that had no idea what the core concept was going to be. They hadn't, it took them a very long time in development to come up with the idea that this was a console that you can take with you on the go. That surprises me because my assumption as to how the Switch came to exist is immediately after the Wii U came out and people incorrectly assumed you could just take the gamepad anywhere you wanted and it was a portable. I thought at that point Nintendo went, oh, that would have been a good idea. Whoops. And then they developed the Switch. That was my assumption, but apparently it took them years to realize that that's what the Switch should be. So, if you want to read more about that, there's a link down there for you. If you watched the Switch presentation, you'll realize that there were a couple instances where it seemed like the translators were struggling, and none more so than in the case of Suda51. And it turns out that's because he was completely off script. Now, my assumption, and this apparently has been proven right by this specific experience, is that none of that Japanese stuff was live. That, of course, the presentation is pre-scripted, right? And so the translators were not really translators, it's already been translated. The voices, the English voices that we heard were simply reading the English dub of, you know, the English translation of that script. So it was like the presenter and the English dub were both reading from the same script. It was just one was in Japanese and one was in English. Well, in Suda51's case, knowing him, he decided to ditch the teleprompter altogether and just went 100% off script. So in the presentation, we heard the English person reading the original version of what Suda51 was supposed to be saying, but that clearly wasn't matching up with what he was actually saying. So then, apparently these dub readers also were getting either they or themselves speak Japanese, and so he was like trying to live translate some of what Suda51 was saying, or he was being fed some translation of live of what Suda51 was saying. But in any case, the point is you can watch a video that shows a direct translation of what he was actually saying, and it was nothing like what the English dub person was saying. So that is fascinating stuff. And that must have kind of ticked Nintendo off. I mean, they wanted, of course, this presentation to go without a hitch, and so of course everything was pre-written, you'd think. And apparently Suda51 said, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Screw that script. If you want to watch that video with the direct translation as well, there's a link down there. And our final bit of news is the fact that 1-2 Switch, which was very confusing in the presentation. In the presentation, the only thing that I got from that was like the whole entire game was just that Wild Wild West shoot 'em up, like stare down, whatever the heck that sort of thing is called, quick draw thing. But, you know, eventually later on in the presentation they showed us other games that were clearly 1-2 Switch minigames, and so a lot of us were wondering, well, just how many of these things there are, and apparently the answer is 20. There are 20 such games. We only saw a few of them. We saw like a cow milking one, and it's like eating a hot dog one or something. Anyways, there are 20 such video games. In my opinion, that 1-2 Switch should be like Wii Sports and just come with the Switch. I can't imagine too many people are going to buy that. Not for its really expensive price. It's like practically the same price as Breath of the Wild. Who's gonna spend that kind of money on 20 minigames? I certainly am not. I might end up buying it used if it ever like comes down really cheap, but anyways, that's just me. I want to know from you guys, are you guys buying one to Switch? Because, and also take a look at the price. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's $49.99. Maybe it's $39.99, which is a little more reasonable, but still $40, yikes. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about one to Switch down in the comments. See you guys in a couple days for more news. Bye guys.